The time is 5 o'clock. Here is the world news at 5. First, the top stories. Transmission firm to build 63 billion naira substations in Ogun to boost power supply. Sultan warns against actions that could lead to another civil war. More than 1,000 Nigerians deported back home within February and April this year. Boko Haram leader Abubakar Shekau injured, deputy killed in airstrike. In foreign, Somalian minister killed in attack on his convoy in Mogadishu. Court frees mother who killed her 7 children in Australia. Good evening, I am Aghemerio Oaikhenan bringing you the news in detail shortly. And now the news in detail. Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, has finalized arrangements to construct 5 major power substations in Ogun State to address the epileptic electricity supply in the state. The 63 billion naira project involves the construction of 330 to 132 kV transmission power substations in Likosi around Shagam, Ikorodu Road, Ejio near Arigbajo, Ifo, Mowe, and Ibafo, as well as at Jegule in the Agbara industrial area. The company's managing director, Usman Mohammed, made this known while leading the company's management on a courtesy visit to Governor Ibikule Amosu at the governor's office at Okimoson in Abeokuta. The proposed substations, according to him, are being sited in the state because of the growing numbers of industries in the state. Mohammed explains that TCN had already sourced $1.5 billion from the donor agencies, including the World Bank, Islamic Development Bank, and African Development Bank, to kickstart the construction of substations nationwide to stabilize the power supply. Usman asked for the state government's cooperation towards the release of land for the project.
But if TCN is going to do the work, it means that TCN is going to spend about $30 million to pay for compensation. I don't think we'll have that for 2.
Responding, Governor Amosun promised to assist the company in successfully implementing the project to improve power supply to the state. Ogun State Commissioner of Police Hamed Ilyasu has said that the command will do all within its power to empower grassroots policing in the state. Ilyasu, inaugurating the Police Community Relations Committee Eminent Personalities Group of the Obantuku Division in Abeokuta, says that grassroots policing is the foundation of community surveillance, which has assisted police command in Ogun State to solve many crimes and stop some before they were hatched.
To succeed in safeguarding and securing their property and their environment. That is the idea behind community policing.
The Police Community Eminent Personality Group is a creation of the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, who has told police commands to inaugurate a committee of eminent people within the command to serve in an advisory role in solving crimes within their areas and strengthening the police-community relationship. The pro-tem chairman of the group, Apostle Lawrence Achudeme, thanks the police command for finding them worthy of the assignment and promised they will work selflessly to support the police. The Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Sahard Abubakar, has cautioned Nigerians against acts capable of plunging the country into another civil war. Nigeria, according to the top traditional ruler, cannot survive another civil war. The Sultan issued the warning in Port Harcourt while speaking during the Traditional Rulers' Day of the ongoing River State Golden Jubilee celebration. He asked Nigerians to work against repeating the mistakes that led Nigeria to the bloody Biafra War. To the politicians, the Sultan urged them to stop seeing traditional rulers as rivals or as a threat, but as a partner capable of getting the best out of the country. An estimated 1,134 Nigerians were deported from various countries back to the country between February and April this year. They were repatriated according to the National Agency for Trafficking in Persons for various offenses including human trafficking, migrant smuggling, and possession of invalid travel documents. The agency Director General, Julie Okadonli, who made this known, says 90 of them were deported from Libya, 115 from Italy, 41 from Mali, and 26 from Burkina Faso. Also deported were 22 from United Arab Emirates, 1 from Cameroon, 8 from Ivory Coast, and 2 from Togo. Thousands of other Nigerian migrants, including 5,000 in Mali, according to her, are stranded in various countries, and they expected to be repatriated back home. Meanwhile, the presidency says it will not allow the repatriation of Nigerians on the death row in prisons in various foreign nations back to the country. Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyema says the repatriation of capital offenders does not fall under the prisoner exchange program that Nigeria is implementing with select nations. The minister explains that it is often impossible for those serving terms for capital offences to be repatriated unless their term is commuted to life jail. A non-government organization, Legal Department Assistance Project, says about 300 Nigerians are on the death row in several countries in Asia and Middle countries as of last year. For a third time in a row, President Muhammadu Buhari is absent from the weekly meeting of the Federal Executive Council in Abuja amidst the growing speculation on the status of his health. In his absence, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo again presided over the meeting of the council. The absence of the president has raised fresh speculation on his health, despite his resumption of office on Tuesday. He reportedly met with the group managing director of Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Dr. Makanti Baru, and Justice Minister Abubakar Malami during his appearance in his office on Tuesday. The First Lady, Aisha Buhari, later assured Nigerians that the ill health of her husband was being exaggerated and not as serious as being speculated. Amidst the uncertainty created by the health status of the president, Professor Wole Soyinka had asked him to complain on the state of his health, while former interim national chairman of APC, Chief Bisi Akande, warns against the politicization of his health condition. Meanwhile, the presidency has explained why President Buhari again was absent from Wednesday's meeting of the Federal Executive Council. Information and Culture Minister Alhaji Lai Mohammed told the State House correspondent after the meeting that Buhari stayed away from the meeting on the advice of his doctors. A factional leader of the Boko Haram sect, Abubakar Shekau, has been wounded in the airstrikes by the warplanes of the Nigeria Air Force on the fringe of the Sambisa Forest in the northeast region. One of his deputies, identified as Abba Mustafa, died along with another top Boko Haram commander, Abubakar Gashua, in the attack last Friday. Agency report says 2 Air Force planes bombarded the gathering of Boko Haram leaders and fighters for Friday prayers in Bala village, 40 kilometers to Damboa on the edge of Sambisa Forest. A member of Civilian Joint Task Force, Babakura Kolu, speaking in Maiduguri, says that a number of Boko Haram commanders also died in the air attack. Shekau, according to the agency report, is receiving treatment near the Nigeria-Cameroon border at Kolofata. You're still listening to the World News at 5 on Rock City 101.9 FM. Up next, we bring you foreign, business and sport news. Please do stay with us. And now on the foreign scene. Somalia's Public Works Minister Abdullahi Sheikh Abbas has been killed after an attack on his convoy in the capital, Mogadishu. He was shot in his car near the presidential palace. Mr. Abbas was a former refugee who grew up in the Bab camp in Kenya, home to hundreds of thousands of Somalis who fled drought and civil war. He became the country's youngest member of parliament last November, aged 31, when he defeated a former minister. Much of Somalia is still under the control of Islamist militant group Al-Shabaab, which is affiliated to Al-Qaeda. French presidential candidate Emmanuel Macron was more impressive than rival Marine Le Pen in Wednesday evening's final TV debate, a viewers' poll says. Mr. Macron also led among voters when they were asked about which candidate was most honest, most aligned with the voters' values, and who had the best plans. Mr. Macron already enjoys a lead in the opinion polls, which predict he will pull in about 59% of votes. The candidates traded insult for more than 2 hours, arguing over terrorism, the economy, and Europe. The French broadcaster BFM TV found voters had a more favorable view of Mr. Macron than Ms. Le Pen in most categories. The second round run-off between the pair takes place on Sunday. An Australian woman who killed 8 children in a stabbing attack at her home will not stand trial because she was of unsound mind at the time. Raina Thaida was experiencing a psychotic episode when she turned on her 4 sons, 3 daughters and a niece in Cairns in December 2014. The house where the children aged between 2 and 14 were killed has been demolished. It has been replaced with a park to remember Malili, Angelina, Shante, Raiden, Azariah, Daniel, Rodney and Petronella. Thaida, 40, is being held at a high-security centre in Brisbane. It is unclear if she will ever be released back into the community. And now in business. Nigeria's daily crude oil production level has gone up to 2 million barrels. Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, Dr. Maikanti Baru, made this known to the State House correspondent after meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The figure represents 500,000 barrels increase over 1.5 million barrels recorded last month due to the shutdown of some of the major oil pipelines in the Niger Delta region for routine maintenance or repair. Finally, sport news. Nigeria Professional Football League (NPFL) newcomers Remo Stars have signed former Nigerian junior international striker Bright Ejike for the upcoming second stanza campaign. The former Sharks marksman last wore Heartland's colours in the immediate past top flight. The player who watched the Sky Blue Stars NPFL Makeup Matchday 14 clash against Rivers United in Port Harcourt has already agreed to terms with the Rebel landlords. Remo Stars are the bottom of the 20-team top flight on 19 points, 16 behind league leaders Plateau United with a game to spare at Rivers United. That was the World News at 5, and just before we go, the major stories once again. Transmission firm to build 63 billion naira substations in Ogun to boost power supply. Sultan warned against actions that could lead to another civil war. More than 1,000 Nigerians deported back home within February and April this year. Boko Haram leader Abubakar Shekau injured, deputy killed in airstrike. In Foreign, we told you that Somali minister killed in attack on his convoy in Mogadishu, and also reported was court-freed mother who killed her 7 children in Australia. For more stories and to listen to us live, please log on to our website www.rockcityfmradio.com/live. Thank you so much for listening. I am Aghemerio Oaikhenan. Good evening.